This is JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. Please like. It helps me with my watch repair channel. So I decided to do another little chat, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. But this is a great breakout diagram of a pocket watch. So what you have here, starting with the barrel, is the power. So your watch will not work unless it has power. And the power is created by the barrel that has a mainspring in it, and the mainspring is wrapped around the arbor. So the mainspring is connected to that arbor, and then it continues to wrap around the arbor until it gets to the barrel, and there's likely some kind of a hook on the barrel, or the mainspring has a T on it where the cap of the mainspring and the base of the mainspring have holes, and that little T on the mainspring holds that spring in place, and when you wind the watch, the actual arbor turns as it winds the watch and tightens the mainspring around the arbor, so the actual mainspring material goes inward until you get a situation where you have most of the mainspring wrapped around the arbor right here, and a little tiny bit of that mainspring then connecting to the barrel itself. And then as the watch starts working, the mainspring barrel then turns and the arbor stays exactly where it's supposed to be. It does not move. So that's interesting how they designed this hundreds of years ago. So that's the power for the watch. And as the power moves through the various wheels, it's called the wheel train. You end up getting the first wheel being interacting with the barrel is the center wheel. You can see that the pinion interacting with the leaves of the pinion interacting with the teeth on the mainspring barrel, which is kind of cool. So that moves that pinion there, and that particular interface, if I can call it that, right? That is actually directly driving through the center wheel straight up, like right through the watch, and that'll interact with the cannon pinion. So that's how that works. I won't get into that right now. Let me just erase my markings. But going through the actual wheel train, you end up getting the center wheel being interacted with that, and then the intermediate wheel. This is the intermediate wheel right here, and it doesn't perform an additional function other than transferring the power to the next wheel, and it is geared appropriately so that at the end of the day you have the right gearing when it gets to the escapement. So it's passing it to the fourth wheel. So the way the wheels are numbered is 1 for the barrel, 2 for the center wheel, 3 for the intermediate wheel, and 4 for the seconds hand, or the fourth wheel. That's the fourth wheel. So that's the way the wheels are actually numbered on a pocket watch. When it gets to the fourth wheel not only provides power to the escapement right here, but it also provides motion for the seconds hand. So this is geared so it's exactly 60 seconds. This thing will turn once every 60 seconds. And the way the watch actually knows to turn once every 60 seconds has a lot to do with the back end of this watch. If you look at the actual balance that we have here, and the balance consists of the balance staff that goes all the way through the balance, and with the jewels on either side to reduce the amount of friction that's involved. Then you have the balance wheel itself, and the wheel does not want to turn unless it's got power provided to it. And the balance also has if you look at this here, it's got a roller table right there, and it has an impulse jewel right here. So that roller table and impulse jewel allow the pallet fork, which is right here, to provide power. So the pallet fork will swing left and right, counterclockwise, clockwise, left and right, pushing that impulse jewel left or right, and that swings the balance. And so the balance actually ends up swinging in a clockwise and counterclockwise direction due to the actual impulse provided by the pallet fork. That's why that's called the impulse jewel. Now, that is going to swing at a certain speed, and that is regulated by the hairspring. So this is the hairspring right here. Let me just erase this here for a second. See if I can get through this. That's the hairspring right there. And the hairspring determines the frequency of that balance going clockwise and counterclockwise. It also determines the amount of degrees it'll turn clockwise and counterclockwise, which is called the amplitude of the watch. The impulse, the pallet fork, is able to actually turn. If you go backwards in the system, it's able to turn because it's interacting with these little feet right there, all these little tiny boots or feet on the escapement. And the feet on the escapement will push the stone, the jewel, the stone on the pallet fork. Just color that in a different color. It'll push one of the stones, which are jewels, one way, that way, and then it'll lock on this side, then it'll unlock on this side and snap it back the other way. And that snaps the pallet fork left and right. And that's kind of how that works. It's an interesting design. So, and that can only be done if there's power on this escapement, and the power on the escapement that allows that to turn is provided through the fourth wheel. So the fourth wheel interacts right there with the pinion of the escapement, causing it to turn, and it only turns in one direction. And that one direction, that's also a band, isn't it? Sorry about that. It turns in this direction, which locks and unlocks the jewels of the pallet fork. So this whole system, I'm not going to talk about this too much, but up here, then you've got this translating through through here, which is the center wheel. So it only can turn at a certain frequency based on the turning of the escapement. So if you didn't have the escapement moving, none of the other wheels in the wheel train actually will move. So the escapement itself, the escapement only moves because of the balance wheel allowing it to move, and it allows it to move at a certain speed, and this allows the fourth wheel to move, which allows the intermediate wheel to move, which allows the center wheel to move, which is powered by the balance, the mainspring, right through the mainspring barrel. So none of this works unless the escapement here, the balance allows that to move. If you put your finger on that balance at any point here, stop it, it will not allow the mainspring barrel to release any power through the system. So it's an interesting design, I'll say. That it's hundreds of years old, this design. It has not changed much, if at all, the principles have not changed at all in watches over the years. So this mainspring, or the center wheel here, is providing is with the cannon pinion, is connecting with the second, or the minute wheel here. This is the minute wheel here, which is connecting through a pinion to the actual hour wheel and turning the hour wheel. And that's how the minute wheel, the minutes and the hours of the actual watch work. I've described that in a different video, and you can go look that up or research it or Google it to see how that works. But these are the basic functions of a watch. It's a pocket watch in this case, but it's actually a watch. So So if the system diagram here would go from this part to this part to this part to this part to this part. And then the funny thing is this is not turning unless the pallet fork with the interaction with the escapement allows that to turn. And it's allowing the barrel to actually release its power. So it's an interesting design. So this is the design of a basic watch and how it works. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a quick one. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hit like. And this is a Sunday morning video. I just decided to make it for people that are new in the watch world, watch repair world or whatever. Just as a quick description of how the system itself works. Thanks a lot. I'm JD. And